Explorers, today we're going to talk about the rainbow order, and the color wheel. If you have ever seen this in my room, or I have a poster that looks kind of similar to this and it spins as well, this is a tool that artists use to help them create different colors when they're mixing paint, even crayons, mixing colors with crayons, or if you are trying to figure out what colors go together well, what colors will not look good next to each other. This color wheel tool will help you. So to begin to understand that, first we're going to look at the rainbow. So rainbow order is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, purple. And instead of making a rainbow, we just completely wrap it all the way around to make it into a wheel so we can use it as a tool. Let me show you an example of how this can be a tool. Our coal colors, like on my shirt, are purple and yellow, or purple and gold. And so if I find purple on the color wheel and I look completely opposite the other way, I see the yellow is across from it. What that tells me is that purple and yellow are complementary colors, meaning they go together really well, they look good together. My other favorite one to see is red, and the complete opposite side of red is green, which means red and green are complementary colors. They go together really, really well. When we think of red and green, a lot of times we might think of Christmas decorations because the red and green are next to each other and they look really awesome. But the other thing to know about complementary colors is that if you mix them together, if I mix red and green together, they're gonna make a dark muddy color, kind of like brown. So we wanna be careful with colors that we're mixing, which is why we use a tool like a color wheel. Now let's create our color wheel. Today, if you have a paper plate, either a small or a large one, that would be best for you to use to make your color wheel. If you don't have one, however, you have the option of using a blank piece of paper and finding something around your house that has a circle shape that you can trace. So I found a little container. I will put it in the middle of my paper and trace around it so that I have a pretty perfect circle instead of just trying to draw a circle. I'm not very good at drawing perfect circles. So now I have this circle and I can use my ruler, or if you don't have a ruler, you can find a straight edge like this box of markers here could work. And I'm going to divide my circle in half. And I used this side of the box to make my line super straight. And then I'm gonna turn it, and I'm gonna be making the letter V to create 3 sections on the top. The letter V again. So I'm gonna give myself a dot in the middle and connect from that dot to the edge of my circle and going up the other way so that you'll see that V shape. Now this is just one option. I'm gonna show you in a moment how to create it on a paper plate. So once you have this letter V, you can either turn your paper upside down and do the letter V again, or you can continue on with those lines that you created before. So I would follow this line all the way down to the end of my circle. And then the same thing going the opposite way. I'm gonna follow this line going all the way down to the end of my circle. And now I have my 6 sections. It's not perfect, but if you can try and divide it as evenly as you can so that you have 6 sections for your colors. To make your color wheel, you're gonna need 6 sections: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. We're not gonna worry about indigo for our color wheel because indigo is in between a blue and a purple color. If you have a ruler would work best to give you a nice straight line. You can put this straight across the middle of your plate or your circle. If you need to, you can also fold it in half to give yourself that dividing line, and that gives you 2 parts to your circle. That's what we call halves. So I'm gonna take my marker. Pencil is fine too, you don't have to do this part in marker. And I have divided my plate into halves. Now here is the trickier part. You're going to be creating an X going across from here and across from here. We cannot do a line straight down to where it looks like a letter T, or that will end up giving us 8 sections in the end. So here's what you have to do. An easy way to do this is find the middle. I'm gonna give myself a midpoint. So I'm gonna draw a little circle there. And now I'm going to slide my ruler to the left. And I'm envisioning if I had a middle point over here, I'm going halfway back this way, halfway between here and this top. You can make a tiny dot up here, but I don't want that to confuse you and make you draw a line straight down because we do not want a line straight down. So remember, from the middle of the top, make your ruler go halfway back and it's connecting to my middle dot. And I could stop here. So I have one chunk of what's gonna look like a pie for my color wheel. Now I'm gonna aim my ruler going from the top middle to the right, halfway back to this section over here, making sure that my ruler goes from my midpoint to the end of my circle. So now it looks like I have a letter V on top of this line. So if those instructions were too confusing for you, do your halfway line and then make a big letter V to where it looks like you have 3 even sections. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing, making a letter V going this way. Now it's going to be easier because I have this line guiding me. So all I have to do is continue with that line all the way to the end of my circle. And the same thing going the opposite way. So now that you have your color wheel divided into your 6 sections, you're ready to color. Remember, your order should be red, then orange, then yellow, then green, then blue, then violet, okay? Your colors can be remembered easily by the acronym Roy G. Biv. If you want to write this acronym down to help you remember, you can do this on the back of your paper, or follow along with this video and pause whenever you need to go to the next color. So start with red, then orange, then yellow, then green, then blue, and then violet or purple. We're skipping indigo. Now that your color wheel is complete, let's talk about different ways that you can use this color wheel as a tool with your artwork. First, you need to know your 3 primary colors. I'm going to mark my 3 primary colors with a marker. You're welcome to do the same if you want. So I'm going to put a P for primary on red, yellow, and non-blue. These are your three primary colors, which means that if you have a red, yellow, or blue, you can create other colors like your secondary colors. So your secondary colors, we're gonna put a letter S on the orange, the green, and the purple or violet. Here's what this means. If you have your primary colors of red and yellow and you mix them together, you will make orange, which is why on the color wheel, the orange is in between the red and the yellow. If you have yellow as your primary and blue as your primary color, and you mix them together, you get green. If you take your primary color of blue and red and you mix them together, you get purple or violet. I have a full tray of watercolors here, but I'm going to show you how you can just use those three primary colors to create your secondary colors and fill in your whole color wheel. This is another little project you could try on your own if you have watercolors, but you don't have to do this. This is just something fun to show you that mixing colors really does work. So the first section of our color wheel was red, so I filled that in. And now I'm gonna take my other section that should be yellow and fill that in, and then I'll mix the two together in between the red and the yellow to show you how you can create that orange color with only using red and yellow. So even though I have an orange available, I'm only using yellow and red. So watch how they mix together to create that orange color. When you're mixing the colors, sometimes you'll find that you need to add a little more of one or even both of those colors to get them to mix well. So I've added a little bit more red and yellow to get the right shade of orange that I'm looking for. But now you can see that it's really turning out as an orange color and not so much yellow or red. Now I'm painting in the blue section, and I'm going to mix blue with yellow in the empty space next to it. So I'll take a little bit more blue and put it in this little slice so that I can mix it with my yellow. And as you can see by your completed color wheel, it's going to create green. Now, if I add more blue than yellow, I will get a little bit of a turquoise color. So once again, it just depends on the shade of green that you're looking for as to how much yellow or how much blue you add. But you can see I already have enough of both colors to create that green. Moving on to the last one, we have blue and red that will mix together to create our violet color. Once we've taken all of our primary colors and created all of the secondary colors, the green, the orange, and the purple, then it's easy to create what we call tertiary colors. Tertiary colors are colors like that blue-green, teal or turquoise color that you create by adding more of the blue to the yellow to get those different shades. Rainbow Order and your color wheel can help you also with color families. So we already talked about colors that are complementary being on exact opposite sides, like red and green, or even orange and blue would be complementary colors, meaning they look nice when they're sitting next to each other, but we don't want to mix them together unless we're going for a really muddy color. But with color families, you can see the top half, or this half of your color wheel, the red, orange, and yellow, is the warm color family. When I think of the warm color family, I think of being warm outside in the sunshine. So if I'm coloring the sun, I could use that red, orange, and yellow within my sun and make it stand out. These warm colors mix together well, and they sit next to each other and look really nice. With my other part of my color wheel, I have my cool colors. So my green, blue, and violet are my cool colors. I like to think of ice and snow, a cold picture when I'm drawing with my cool colors. These colors, just like the other color family, they look really nice sitting next to each other, or they mix together really well and don't make a super muddy color like they would if they were colors on opposite sides of the color wheel. Remember, if they're on the opposite side of the color wheel, they're not in the same family, so they look nice together, but they don't mix well. On this coloring sheet, I'm showing you how I'm using that rainbow or color wheel as my tool. So I have my greens, blues, and purples, and I'm coloring all the petals of my flowers and the leaves in my cool color family only. So only the cool color family is one section of my coloring sheet. The next section, which is the background, I'm making that contrast by using my warm color families. So I have the reds, orange, and bright yellows. Now that I've opened up this coloring sheet, I'm doing the opposite on the other half. So I have my cool color family as my background. And then for my flower petals, I'm using the warm color family, which is my yellows, orange, and reds, those brighter colors that are warm like the sunshine. And you can see how it gives you a nice contrast on your artwork. The next time you're coloring on a coloring page, I hope you will try out this technique where you use your warm colors in one section and your cool colors in another section. Make sure you keep your color wheel that you created today so you can use this as a tool when you are creating your different art projects and coloring.